12 most psychologically disturbing anime that will blow your mind. There's an endless list of genres when it comes to anime, but there's something truly captivating about psychological anime that delves deep into the human psyche, exploring the existential issues and inner turmoil of the characters. They tackle complex themes and thought experiments that challenge the viewer's perception of reality. From mind games to mysteries, it offers a unique element of wonder and intrigue that sets it apart from other genres. It's no wonder that these anime have become a cult favorite among fans and continue to captivate audiences with their fantastical takes on modern day issues. And today, we will offer you a gateway list for those interested in this compelling genre. So let's begin. Now, before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Now, thank you. Let's get started. Paranoia Agent. Satoshi Kon was a master of delivering brain-chilling stories with minimalist elements, and his anime masterpiece, Paranoia Agent, is no exception, although a little less loved than some of his other works. The story centers around the mysterious and elusive Lil Slugger, who attacks unsuspecting victims in Tokyo with a golden baseball bat while roller skating. Tsukiko Sagi, the creator of the popular character Maromi, became the first victim of Little Slugger's attacks. However, when the police detectives Ikari and Manawa are assigned to the case, they are initially skeptical of her story. The situation becomes even more perplexing when a second victim emerges with a similar story, leading the detectives to believe that Lil Slugger may be a real threat. As the detectives try to piece together the clues surrounding the attacks, they encounter a cast of eccentric characters with their own deep-seated fears and anxieties. The anime explores themes of identity, isolation, and the human psyche. It's difficult to determine what is real and what is not, as the story blends genres ranging from comedy to horror, fantasy to drama. However, the victims all have one thing in common. They can't remember Lil Slugger's face, but they all remember the golden baseball bat, golden inline skates, and a baseball cap. As the detectives race against time to catch the elusive attacker, they uncover a web of deception and mystery that suggests Lil Slugger may be just a mere human. The show explores the idea of people using external enemies or escapist entertainment to avoid confronting their problems and taking responsibility for their actions. This is a similar theme to the one explored in another masterpiece of anime, and that is Evangelion. It adds to the conversation about social anxieties, escapism, and trauma, and the core message of Paranoia Agent is not subtle, but it's incredibly effective in portraying the hardship and importance of facing one's trauma and reality. It also comments on various aspects of Japanese society, culture, and media. It's a perfect companion to other Satoshi Kon productions, such as Perfect Blue and Serial Experiments Lain. The show's blend of surrealism, anthology format, and engaging storytelling make it stand out as one of the best psychological thrillers in anime. Happy Sugar Life. Happy Sugar Life tells us the story of Sato Matsuzaka, a high school girl who, after meeting a young girl named Shio, discovers the meaning of love and how far she is willing to go to protect it. This anime is unique because it exists as both terrifying and adorable simultaneously, right from the very beginning. It does not use the technique of establishing known tropes and later subverting them, like other series of this type, but rather lulls the audience into a false sense of security and comfort. Happy Sugar Life is a well-written anime that keeps the tension wire taut, leaving the viewers rooting for or against characters scene by scene. Although it contains a lot of disturbing elements and pedophilia that will instantly disgust you from just the introduction content, so viewer discretion is advised. The series is easily watchable in 1 or 2 sessions, and its constant twists, peril, and tension are at an all-time high. It's produced by Square Enix, and its characters' expressions are perfectly captured, with trauma and other psychological effects represented with unique illustrating techniques. The voice acting matches wonderfully, and the score is subtle, with a style that doesn't get in the way of letting the artwork shine, yet enhances the atmosphere in prominent scenes. Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue is a 1997 Japanese psychological thriller film directed by none other than our beloved Satoshi Kon. The film follows Mima Kirigoe, a former pop idol who is transitioning to an acting career. As she starts to take on more mature roles, her grip on reality begins to slip and she becomes the target of a stalker who is fixated on her past as an idol. The film explores the darker side of Japan's entertainment industry, where idols are often presented as ideal constructs to attract fans. Mima's transition from idol to an actor is met with disapproval from some of her fans, including Mamoru Uchida, a security guard and Mima's most devout fan. Uchida represents the extreme otaku who have trouble separating the fact from fiction, and he becomes obsessed with Mima to the point of stalking her. Mima's reality becomes increasingly blurred as she takes on more mature roles and she starts to see hallucinations of her former self. The film's most pivotal scene is a simulated assault scene, which becomes the death of an idol and the birth of an actor. This scene is a graphic and disturbing depiction of the entertainment industry's exploitation of young women. Perfect Blue is a masterpiece of psychological horror that explores themes of identity, fame, and the blurred line between reality and fantasy. The film's animation style and sound design are haunting and surreal, creating a disorienting atmosphere that adds to the film's sense of unease. The film's exploration of the darker side of the entertainment industry, as well as its examination of the otaku subculture, make it a terrifying masterpiece that continues to resonate with audiences today. Midori. You might have heard of Shoujo Tsubaki from either TikTok or other social media populated by anime enthusiasts after it recently gained notoriety for its extremely disturbing content, which also led to its ban in Japan. Maro Suhiro, the artist behind the story, draws on the nihilistic and decadent Iroguro tradition of the pre-war Showa era for inspiration. To emphasize this connection to the past, Maru infuses his love for 1920s Kamishibai theater into the story. Kamishibai is a form of Japanese storytelling that uses illustrated boards or scrolls to narrate a story, and it is significant because it parallels the story's surreal and disturbing and brutal nature. Both of these rely on visuals and shock value to captivate their audience. Incorporating Kamishibai also highlights the story's nostalgia as it harkens back to a bygone era of Japanese entertainment. This story is set in the 1920s following a 12-year-old girl named Midori, who comes from a poor family and sells camellias on the street to survive. Her father left her all alone to attend her bedridden mother, and after her mother's death, Midori is taken in by a creepy old man who leads her to a traveling street circus. The performers in the circus are grotesque with physical deformities and hardened hearts. They take an interest in Midori, but only to make her suffer. The film depicts violence in its many forms, including exaggerated gore, the arrival of Wonder Masumitsu, a practitioner of Western-style stage magic, and a dwarf. Provides a glimmer of kindness and hope for Midori, but even he has a dark side that fuels an extravagant and protracted display of visceral excess. The contrast between violence and pathos, and even moments of wry humor, make the film all the more chilling and disorienting. The ending of the film is preceded by a stretch of relative calm and resolution, but the queasy absurdity drives the horror home even harder. Director Hiroshi Harada put a great emphasis on themes of bullying and marginalization in adapting the novel, and these themes are evident throughout the film. The story takes an even darker turn when a magician who can do real magic joins the circus and takes a liking to Midori. They agree to get married despite her only being 12 years of age and engage in creepy makeout scenes. Midori becomes more confident with her husband's protection, but continues to face abuse from the other circus performers. Eventually, her husband uses his magic to turn her into a giant to defend herself from the abuse. The anime ends with Midori being approached by the armless mummy performer who confesses his love for her. The magician husband sees this and kills the mummy performer in a fit of jealousy. Monster. Monster is a severely underrated masterpiece that follows the journey of Dr. Kenzo Tenma, a young and idealistic Japanese brain surgeon who faces a moral dilemma at the hospital where he works. Dr. Tenma becomes increasingly disillusioned with the hospital's political agenda and the corrupt practices of his colleagues. However, his life takes a dramatic turn when he saves the life of Johann Liebert, a young boy who was brought into the hospital after a massacre. In the moment of defiance against the hospital's protocols, Dr. Tenma decides to operate on Johann instead of the mayor who arrived later, thereby saving the boy's life. However, the mayor dies and Johann and his twin sister, Anna Liebert, mysteriously disappear from the hospital. In a shocking turn of events, director Heinemann and other doctors who stood in Dr. Tenma's way are brutally murdered. The story then fast forwards 9 years, with Dr. Tenma now serving as the chief of surgery. He saves the life of a criminal named Adolf Junkers, who then utters the word monster. Dr. Tenma soon finds himself held at gunpoint by Johann Liebert, who has resurfaced after all this time. Despite his efforts to reason with Johann, Dr. Tenma is unable to prevent him from shooting Junkers and escaping into the night. As a result, Dr. Tenma is suspected by the police, especially the BKA Inspector Lunge, who becomes obsessed with catching him. Dr. Tenma embarks on a perilous journey to clear his name and find out the truth about Johann. Along the way, he discovers a dark and disturbing conspiracy that threatens not only his life, but also the lives of those around him. The story's beauty lies in its exploration of the human psyche and the duality of humanity. The show delves deep into the nature of the human condition and how people deal with trauma, loss, and their place in the world. The show takes its time to develop its characters, allowing the audience to understand the motivations, fears, and desires. The protagonist, Dr. Kenzo Tenma, is a kind and compassionate doctor who is willing to risk everything to save a life. However, his actions often have severe consequences, and he must deal with the guilt and shame that comes with them. Johann Liebert, the show's main antagonist, is a fascinating character who embodies the duality of humanity. He is charming and charismatic, but beneath his suave exterior lies a monster who is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve his goals. What makes Monster so terrifying is not just the portrayal of the atrocities committed in the former East Germany's attempt to create perfect soldiers through psychological reprogramming, but also how easy it is for a person to shift from one side to the other and how their actions can have severe consequences. It leaves the audience with a profound realization of the nature of humanity, which is both beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Serial Experiments Lain. Serial Experiments Lain is a captivating and mind-bending series that stands out with its unique storyline and thought-provoking themes. The show begins with a shocking suicide scene, setting the tone for the rest of the series. We then meet the protagonist, Lain Awakura, who receives an email from the deceased girl claiming to have ascended to a new form within the Wired. From here, the show takes us on a journey through the darkest corners of the internet and Lain's psyche. As Lain becomes more immersed in the Wired, she discovers a group called the Knights of the Eastern Calculus, who are responsible for a number of suicides related to the Wired, and later she begins to experience hallucinations of the Wired in the real world. She eventually meets a researcher named Masima Iri in the Wired, who claims that she no longer needs a body to live because she exists in the Wired. Iri is worshipped by the Knights as the god of the Wired. After leaking a list of the Knights' members, Lain installs her Navi OS into her own brain and begins to blur the line between the real world and the Wired. She assumes the role of destroying the barrier between the two, but is stopped by her friend Alice, who convinces her that humans still need bodies because of their heartbeats. In a final confrontation with Iri, Lain realizes that she must delete herself from everyone's memory to prevent Alice from being hurt. In the end, life is reset, and Lain becomes the true god of the Wired, able to descend upon reality at will. What makes this anime so great is how it combines various genres and themes. The show not only deals with Lain's struggles to belong and find her identity among her teenage classmates, and the dense storytelling makes it challenging to follow at times, but for those who stick with it, the show offers a rewarding experience that will make them question their own identity and reality, but it's well worth it for those who enjoy philosophical and existential musings in their media. It explores the concept of identity and reinventing oneself in a place that is not physically tangible. The Wired is a metaphor for the internet, and the show's depiction of the internet in 1998 looks surprisingly similar to today's internet. Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is a truly sensational anime that captures audiences with its intense plot and multifaceted characters. The series is renowned for its macabre moments, including dismemberment, death, and body horror, which shock even veteran viewers. The world in which Attack on Titan is set is one where humanity is forced to live within enormous walled cities to protect themselves from the Titans, colossal humanoid creatures that appear to have an insatiable appetite for humans. Their lives are forever changed when a colossal Titan appears, wreaking havoc on their hometown and leading to the death of the anti-hero Aaron's mother. Driven by a thirst for revenge, he joins the Scout Regiment, a highly trained group of soldiers who venture beyond the safety of those walls to fight against the Titans. One of the strongest aspects of Attack on Titan is its well-developed characters. The central trio of Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin are complex and relatable, with their actions motivated by their backstories and personal experiences. The supporting characters, including those in the Survey Corps and the show's villains, are also fleshed out with clear motives and arcs that add to the overall storytelling. Another notable aspect of Attack on Titan is the intricate and captivating world building. The show explores the complex political landscape of the island of Parathi, highlighting the issues with competing military branches and hierarchies. The story also delves into the corruption within the government and slowly unveils the history of the Titans layer by layer. The exposition given is never overwhelming or tedious, adding to the story's richness rather than slowing it down. The Promised Neverland. The Promised Neverland is a masterclass in suspense, weaving together a captivating story of horror and survival. Instead of relying on gratuitous violence or shock tactics, it delivers genuine scare through an emotionally driven plot and a haunting atmosphere that lingers with you long after the episode's outro. At first glance, the orphanage in the story seems like a haven for the children who live there. The adults in charge are kind, the food is delicious, and the children are free to play and have fun. But as the story unfolds, it becomes clear that there's something deeply sinister going on behind the scenes. The show's ability to take something innocent like an orphanage and turn it into a terrifying nightmare is a testament to its brilliant writing and direction. The tension in The Promised Neverland is palpable from the very first episode and only intensifies as the story progresses. The show keeps its cards close to its chest, only revealing small pieces of the puzzle at a time, leaving the audience desperate to uncover the truth. The pacing is impeccable, with each episode building on the last in a way that keeps you hooked until the very end. And when the big reveal finally comes, it's a twist that you will not see coming. One of the most impressive things about The Promised Neverland is its ability to balance horror with heart. Despite the terrifying circumstances the children find themselves in, the show never loses sight of the fact that they are just kids with hopes and dreams for the future. Emma, Ray, and Norman are complex and relatable characters, and you can't help but root for them as they fight to survive. The show's exploration of themes like sacrifice, betrayal, and the power of hope is both thought-provoking and emotionally resonant. Another. In the world of horror and suspense, the concept of death is nothing new. However, Another takes a fresh approach to the theme, centering on the mysterious Mei Mizaki and the curse that plagues Class 3 Yomiyama North Middle School. Mai is a student who has been shunned by her classmates due to her eye patch, which serves as a physical reminder of her dead twin sister. Kochi Sakakibara, a transfer student, is initially unaware of the curse that affects the class, causing students and their family members to die. What makes Another a compelling story is the treatment of Mai and the way in which the curse affects the student's behavior. To avoid the curse, the class decides to ignore Mai, which is essentially an extreme form of bullying. The teachers are also complicit in this treatment of Mai, leading her to be completely isolated from social contact. While Mai claims not to be bothered by this, it's clear that her mental state is affected by the curse and her experiences with her mother. Mai's isolation and the stress of the curse take a toll on the student's mental health, leading to a breakdown at the end of the story. A tape recording left by a previous class suggests that the curse can be ended by killing the source of the curse, who was someone in the classroom that did not belong and was already dead. Of course, the students wrongly accuse Mai of being the source of the curse, leading to a violent attack on her. The stress and the fear of the curse has pushed students to their breaking point, leading to violent thoughts, delusions, and lack of energy. While this scenario may seem contrived, it's not entirely unrealistic, as people can be driven to desperate measures when pushed beyond their mental endurance. It ultimately serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of bullying, ostracizing, and the potential for nervous breakdowns. Tokyo Ghoul. Tokyo Ghoul is a critically acclaimed anime series that delves into a complex alternate reality where ghouls coexist with humans. These creatures are similar in appearance to humans, but possess unique physical abilities and must consume human flesh to survive. One of the main themes of this anime is the tension between humans and ghouls, with the latter posing a threat to humanity's superiority on the food chain. The series explores this tension in a captivating way, delving into the moral grey area inhabited by the characters. The protagonist of this series, Ken Kaneki, is a classic otaku boy who undergoes a transformative surgery that turns him into a half-ghoul. He must grapple with his new identity and find a way to survive in a world where he is considered an outcast. The struggle for survival takes center stage in the series, with both humans and ghouls fighting for their own kind. The underlying idea is that both groups are not so different from each other, both responding to the primitive instinctive rule of survival. One of the strengths of Tokyo Ghoul is its unique visual style and attention to detail, which lends a certain authenticity to the story's setting. The intense gory action is also a highlight of the series, providing a spectacle for viewers while also incorporating the unique powers possessed by ghouls. Furthermore, the characters in Tokyo Ghoul are complex and multidimensional, with each possessing their own motivations and personal struggles. They are not simply defined as good or evil, but rather inhabit a morally grey area, making it difficult for viewers to categorize them. This contributes to the overall appeal of the series, as does the constant air of danger that the characters face. It is not simply a mindless action series, but rather a thought-provoking exploration of humanity and survival. Made in Abyss. Made in Abyss is a captivating anime that immerses viewers in a world filled with danger and wonder. The series centers around Riko, a young orphan living in the town of Orth, which is built around a massive mysterious hole called the Abyss. It's a treacherous place where brave individuals known as cave raiders venture to discover ancient relics and artifacts. However, the deeper one goes into the Abyss, the more dangerous and deadly it becomes. A curse afflicts those who return from there, causing them to suffer from excruciating pain and death. Riko's mother, Lisa, was a legendary cave raider who reached the very bottom of the abyss and earned the prestigious title of White Whistle. However, Lisa disappeared and Riko was left alone at the Belchero orphanage. Driven by her desire to find her mother, she begins her journey into the abyss, accompanied by a strange robotic boy named Reg. Reg possesses remarkable abilities that make him invaluable to Riko's quest, and he also seems to have a connection to the abyss that he doesn't fully understand. The journey into the abyss is a perilous one, filled with strange creatures, deadly traps, and unpredictable obstacles. Along the way, Riko and Reg encounter other cave raiders and learn more about the mysterious history of the abyss and its many dangers. The deeper they go, the more they uncover about the curse and the strange artifacts left behind by Liza. The story is full of harrowing and disturbing elements that oscillate between being compelling and cruel. The extremes of what they go through add to the dangerous nature of the story by establishing how swiftly and severely their lives can change on their descent. Riko's youthful innocence makes her an ideal adventure protagonist, as she has a strong sense of wonder, sometimes leading to some terrifying debacles. Descending further into the abyss is like accepting death, because the act of ascending is much more worse, because symptoms increase the lower someone goes. The near impossibility of returning to the surface or surviving the journey adds to the most frightening elements of the story. While creatures and characteristics of the abyss seem to be its scariest inhabitants, it's the humans who call the depths of the pit their home that impede the protagonists. Higurashi. When they cry, close your eyes and imagine a charming little village nestled in the lush countryside, brimming with all the tranquility and beauty you'd expect from a fairy tale. But what if I told you that behind the facade of serenity and peace, there lurks a sinister force so powerful that it can drive people mad with fear? That's the premise, Higurashi no Naku Koro ni, a chilling anime that will leave you on the edge of your seat. The show revolves around Hinamizawa, a picturesque village that hosts an annual festival called Watanagashi. However, every year something sinister occurs and people start disappearing. When a newcomer, Kaiichi Meibara, arrives in the town and starts investigating, he realizes that the villagers are hiding something terrifying. Luckily, he teams up with a group of friends who share his curiosity, and together they unravel the dark secrets of Hinamizawa. The show's unique feature is that every arc presents a different reality, and the key to breaking the curse lies with Rika, the priestess of the Furud Shrine. In each reality, she and her friends try to save themselves and others from the clutches of Hinamizawa syndrome, a parasite that causes villagers to go insane. But something always goes wrong and they find themselves trapped in a web of paranoia and homicidal rage. The story is both gripping and captivating, with characters that are so well developed that you'll feel like you're a part of their group. The atmosphere is slowly built up with the help of an impeccable soundtrack by Kenji Kawai, making it one of the most ominous and eerie anime out there. And that is that. Thank you for watching today's video. We always appreciate your support and can't wait to bring you more content. But in the meantime, we'd love to hear from you, so drop a comment below and let us know what your favorite psychological mangas and animes are. We're always looking for more recommendations. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.